Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening to all of you faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories this evening: the Congress of the National Union for Democracy and Progress, the NUDP political party, takes place tomorrow in Yaoundé, and tomorrow could be very determining as far as the party's collaboration with the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM, and President Paul Biya, and the move towards the presidential election are concerned. We'll be bringing to you the stakes of that Congress in this news edition. And Professor Maurice Kamto of the CRM political party also calls on Cameroonians to remain steadfast and focused during this crucial period, which could be a turning point in the country's political history. The head of the CRM was speaking to media men and women today in Yaoundé. And still in this edition, psychologists express fear at the rate of drug consumption among young people in Cameroon. They insist parents must always dialogue with their children, especially during this holiday period. Viewers, those are our lead stories. Details and more in just a moment. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. At least 2 persons have lost their lives and several others injured in 2 separate road accidents which happened in Bumiabel in the central region and in Moliwe in the southwest region. Both accidents have been blamed on overspeeding. Let's now have more with Immaculate Fogwe.
We have been on the same spot. I am really exhausted. We struggle so hard to push the wreckage away from the road, but circulation is still very slow. We are hoping that things get better. It's really frustrating. A fatal accident on the Maole stretch of road 3 kilometers from Bumyebel in the Senegal Maritime Division causes significant traffic congestion. According to security sources, a semi-trailer transporting concrete poles for NEO, the electricity distribution company, experienced a brake failure while descending a hill, resulting in 1 death and 1 severe injury. 6 vehicles, including an interurban bus and a heavy-duty truck, were affected, with several completely destroyed. The truck driver responsible for the accident fled the scene immediately. Investigations revealed that the driver had previously encountered mechanical issues at the toll gate and was advised to park, but he continued driving. The truck driver responsible for the accident fled the scene immediately. Investigations revealed that the driver had previously encountered mechanical issues at the toll gate and was advised to park, but he continued driving, leading to the tragic incident. We have been informed that an accident took place few meters away from here. We have been on the same spot for the past 3 hours. I am going to attend a burial and I am already late. They need to fix our roads. I am really frustrated at the moment. After over 3 hours, locals mobilized to clear the wreckage and poles, allowing traffic to partially resume. In a separate accident, but this time around in Moliwe in the southwest region, a fatal accident involving a trailer resulted in 1 death. The truck driver lost control while trying to avoid a bike rider and fell into a ditch. The bus conductor, attempting to save himself, was crushed by the cargo. The truck was transporting goods from the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We now talk about the alleged disappearance of Manhood in some parts of major towns of Cameroon. Jungle Justice has reportedly been meted on several persons accused of causing the disappearance of someone's penis in one town or the other across the national territory. A recent case is that of Silas Nzi, whose family complained he was falsely accused and finally detained. Mala Glory tells us more.
The whole world now is accusing me for something that I know nothing about.
The phenomenon of missing manhood in the political capital city Yaoundé is taking a different twist. Recently, in the Etudi neighborhood, Silas Ndi escaped a mob justice from an angry population after being accused of manhood theft.
I've known this guy for 4 years today. I met the guy. I just gave him a handshake. I greeted him. He left. 15 minutes later, he just came back to me telling me that I should give him back his penis. I thought that this was a joke.
However, this was not true, though the situation rather deteriorated.
Population of Etudi just fell on me. They started beating me. People started insulting me that I've stolen Bangala.
Elements of the Santa Barbara Gendarmerie Brigade arrived at the scene and rescued the victim. The accuser was later taken to the Yaoundé General Hospital, where a test was conducted and confirmed that his genital was intact. Meantime, the situation escalated as the young man's house was vandalized.
That Friday night, when they came back from the hospital and discovered that there's nothing, that the man just framed my son, the neighbor of my son called and said, "Mama, they have broken the house of your son. They broke the door, they scattered everything. They took 580,000 francs.
While he spent 4 days in court study. According to the gendarme officers, his detention at the gendarmerie is for his protection from the angry population. Because of this, family members were stigmatized as a sister confessed to have been a victim of harassment.
Sunday morning, the elder sister went to the market to collect some money, and the same boy threatened to kill her.
The case of missing male sex is gradually taking another turn in major cities of Douala and Yaoundé, which, according to a recent outing by the commander of the Mfundi Territorial Gendarmerie Brigade, declared that the accusations were fabricated by men of the underworld in order to carry out malicious acts.
I'm just a young hustler trying to make a better tomorrow.
Independently on Equinoxe, we are still to see a man whose penis completely disappeared. Now let's talk something else. White pepper farmers in the Manhood division have decried what they term unfair competition from business people who import white pepper of low quality into the country. The cultivators in Pinja expressed their worries during the White Pepper Festival that was presided over recently by the Minister for Agriculture, Gabriel Mbaye-Rubi. Smanjikan Gabriel has the details. We come back to agriculture. White pepper farmers in the Manhood division have been decrying what they term unfair competition from business people, especially importers who bring in white pepper of low quality, they complain, into the country. The cultivators of white pepper in Pinja expressed those worries. That was during a white pepper festival which was organized in Pinja and presided over recently by the Minister for Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Mbaye-Rubi. Smanjikan Gabriel is on that beat.
One of the identities of Pinja in the Manhood division is the production of white pepper, which is the main activity to most of the inhabitants of this locality. As it stands, the over 800 cultivators of white pepper are now facing difficulties.
We are not living a fair trade. The challenges are not the same and the quality are not the same. It's not normal that imported pepper enters our countries and challenge in the future. Something will be done in order to solve this situation that can lead to discourage local production as far as Pinja's pepper is concerned.
During the White Pepper Festival that took place in Pinja, it was an opportunity for the different organizations and cultivators to plead on the government to intervene in the unfair competition going on, as low-quality white pepper imported is having a negative impact on the consumers. For this to be resolved, the farmers suggest all what we are requesting from the government is that they should stop the importation of white pepper into the country, because we are up to the task to provide white pepper to everyone in the country before thinking of exporting. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, who was present during the festival of white pepper, reassured all farmers about government's effort to ensure that the production continues.
The Pinja pepper is a special product which not only give income to farmers, but help our country to get stranger currency. Tenja Pepe is one of the motor drive of the import substitution policy in our country.
Highlights of the White Pepper Festival included expositions of products made out of white pepper and visits of stands by the minister.
Now to one of our lead stories, psychologists have warned young people on the dangers of indulging in the consumption of narcotics or harmful drugs. During a seminar in Douala, the psychologists disclosed that over 60% of youths below 21 consume toxic substances that leads to mental disorder and even death. They advise parents to dialogue with their children often and keep them busy, especially during this holiday period when they seem to be more vulnerable. Innocent Ase reports.
As students continue enjoying the long third-term holiday, they are more exposed to drug consumption in their localities, a phenomenon which has fast matured in the Cameroonian society, not sparing the school milieu. Advocates for zero consumption of narcotics, as many young people consume these psychotropic substances as meals. From our last study, we discovered that over 60% at least tasted these dangerous drugs. With the proliferation of these narcotics in the Cameroonian society, these future leaders are exposed to its consumption. Some get addicted and carry it to school. 30 to 40% of the 60% consumers are in the school milieu. That is where many of them engaged in hard drug consumption. While experts fear many more young people on holiday risk landing in dangerous places where narcotics are commercialized, efforts to save them and reduce the consumption and addiction curve are being multiplied. I encourage parents to maintain dialogue with their children on the dangers of psychotropic substances or hard drugs. No subject should be a taboo for the parents to discuss constantly with their children in order for the child or children to grow morally upright. Parents must keep the children occupied with relevant or educative activities during holidays. If not, the tendency for the idle children to find themselves in drug areas is high.
Les personnes qui sont dépendantes ne peuvent pas se gérer elles-mêmes.
During a seminar in Douala, it was disclosed independent persons are more vulnerable to drug consumption.
Sans doute pas un manque de volonté, mais ces personnes ne peuvent pas y arriver.
Children are also urged to obey their parents and guardians by taking advices to raise a red card to the consumption of narcotics, as it does not only destroy their future but also their health, which could result to mental disorder and death like in many cases.
Now let's talk politics. The Congress of the National Union for Democracy and Progress, the NUDP, takes place tomorrow in Yaoundé. Tomorrow could be very determining as far as the party's collaboration with the CPDM and also President Paul Biya are concerned. Let's now have the stakes of the NUDP Congress with Babila Jonathan.
2025 Congress of the National Union for Democracy and Progress, NUDP, holds significant stakes primarily centered around the party's future leadership, policy direction, and its role in the country's political landscape. The Congress will be a crucial moment for the NUDP, potentially impacting its ability to remain a relevant political force, especially given the upcoming presidential election. It comes on the heels of the resignation of Issa Chiruma Bakari from government, the announcement of his candidacy for the forthcoming presidential election, an effective breakaway between his party, the Cameroon National Salvation Front, and the Paul Biya-led Cameroon People's Democratic Movement CPDM regime. Like the Cameroon National Salvation Front, the UNDP has also been a long-time northern ally of the current regime. The Congress will likely address the leadership of the NUDP, particularly the position held by Bello Buba Maigari. If maintained as president of the party, would he follow the example of Issa Chiruma Bakari at a time when there is reportedly pressure from militants of the party asking him to end the collaboration with the CPDM? The Congress will answer the question. It will therefore be an opportunity to review the NUDP policy positions and electoral strategy. This includes determining how the party will engage with the upcoming election. The decision made at the Congress will likely influence the party's approach to the 2025 presidential election. Strengthening party structure and capacity and maintaining relevance and influence are other issues at stake. In essence, the 2025 UNDP Congress is a pivotal event that will shape the party's future and its role in the broader political context of Cameroon, particularly as the country heads towards the 2025 presidential election.
In politics, elected political officials who cross-carpeted to the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, the CRM party, have vowed to win over all the councils of the west region of the country for the CRM. The new members, consisting veteran grassroots politicians with over 30 years of experience, were presented to the press by CRM party officials in Yaoundé today. For me, I'm Strong Sanda.
With over 30 years of party politics experience, Barrister Sapi Lavoisier is a Cameroonian grassroots politician with successes and roots in Bafoussam in the west region of the country.
Yes, I've been winning elections in Bafoussam since 1996 to 1920. I've never failed in any election. It means that we know how to organize and win an election in the council.
A rich experience and victories gathered while in the Social Democratic Front SDF party, which he now brings to the table of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM political party.
So we are bringing that experience. We are coming with all the experience that we have gathered in organizing local elections and winning. We are bringing that spirit to make sure that CRM party win all the councils in the west region when next local elections comes.
Barrister Sapi Lavoisier and several other elected officials who cross-carpeted to the CRM party were presented to the general public and the press during a CRM party press conference that held at the party's headquarters in Oja, a neighborhood in the political capital city of Yaoundé.
We decided to join the RCM party because this party is fighting truly for a democratic change in Cameroon. And we saw that the fighting spirit that we had in our former party, it is only within CRN party that we can continue that fighting spirit. And that's what motivated us.
The event that brought together top federation leaders of the CRM party was chaired by the party's national second vice president, Nous. The press conference also presented an opportunity for the CRM party to answer questions on their preparedness ahead of the 2025 presidential election in Cameroon.
The report by Fomi brings us to the end of the first part of the news, viewers. Let's now move on to talking points. Welcome back. Our guest tonight is a political analyst, NJI Lucas. Thank you so much for accepting to be part of the news on Equinoxe television tonight. Now, there has been a wave of resignations of elites from the northern regions of Cameroon. We had Issa Chiruma Bakari, who resigned as a government minister. Yaya Bello, who later tabled his resignation from the PCRN political party of Kabralibi. And there are also speculations that Bello Buba Maigari is next in line. Now, looking at the recent trend and the political atmosphere in Cameroon, can we say freely that the Northerners might be preparing a surprise for October, Mr. Lucas?
So it was indeed what they did not expect, because they thought they had the game plan in place. But what we are now seeing is indeed what the North. Good evening, and it's a pleasure being on Equinoxe tonight. It is indeed an unfortunate situation to those who perhaps did not expect this coming from Issa Chiroma Bakari. Yes, as your question goes, that what exactly is the North building? What is the plot in the North? Given that Yaya Bello resigned from PCRN after Issa Chiroma Bakari gave the pew that many did not expect as concerning the presidential majority. It will be good to clear the air that Issa Chiroma Bakare has a party, and it is the National Salvation Front, which is not indeed the CPDM party, for those who do not know, but he supports the presidential majority as was decided by a particular Congress of his party, that they should support the presidential majority, which means, as concerning presidential elections, Issa Chiroma Bakare had nothing to do, but as concerning legislative and municipal elections, Issa Chiroma Bakare's party had everything to do about it, and that had nothing to do with the CPDM party, which many apparently do not know exactly what is happening. This is indeed what we call the part that someone had said some years ago. I remember a particular interview Abubakar May granted to Canada, wherein he said that their allegiance to His Excellency President Paul Biya is not what others should take it for granted. That after President Paul Biya, every other thing that they will be thinking about will be how power needs to go back to the north. Abubakar May said this some years ago, but many people did not consider it to be the wave that was coming. And today we are with Issa Chiroma Bakare, who is doing everything within his power to why not become the next president. And he outlined a couple of things a few weeks before this resignation that is now circulating, that do not vote for someone who cannot protect your interests. Do not vote for someone who, of course, do not care if you are married or you are not married. Do not vote for someone who cannot give you roads. These are the things he said. The question is it that the ruling CPDM party, where he was a member of the presidential majority, did not see these things as per the handwritings that were already very, very glaring on the wall? I think it was, and in the sense that, of course, you know, the ruling CPDM party has it in mind that they have every game plan, as every political party would do also. But Issa Chiroma Bakare indeed was a shock that they received.
Some opinions have it that these resignations can be somehow a strategy by the Biya regime to distract the electorate, especially those in the North region. What's your own analysis on that?
So it was indeed what they did not expect, because they thought they had the game plan in place. But what we are now seeing is indeed what the North has been saying from the time President Amadou Ahidjo died and was buried in Senegal. The ruling CPDM party and the bigwigs of the party, they can concur to what I have said if they go back to their archives, that they have seen several traces of how disgruntled the North has been. And we shouldn't forget that we are looking at another big person who is about to defect from that particular camp. We are talking about the first prime minister when Mr. Biya became the president of the Republic of Cameroon. We are talking about Bello Buba Maigari. Don't forget that he too has actually announced his on the 28th. There will be an extraordinary congress of his party on the 28th. And the objective they want to set out is, how do we manage the upcoming presidential elections? So the North is on the move. And this also has come to cement what we observed some months ago when the Secretary General of the Presidency visited that area, wherein some elected officials in his presence presented how disgruntled they were. But, you know, the ruling CPDM party has it in mind, and that they have a game plan, and no matter what you do, they have a couple of people, they know what to do with them. But, you know, the North is strategic because we know the proportion of the total number of eligible voters that are coming from the North. Don't forget that they cover about 2 feet of the total number, and it matters a lot in the said politics that we are talking about. So, in the days ahead, I know that it will not be game as usual. And I don't want to be someone who will be quoted for what will not be. I fear that while we are looking at the upcoming presidential elections, the convening of the election may delay, not as usual, looking at what is happening. But we are waiting. You know, the law states it very clear that it should be 90 days before the polling day. So we are looking at the 90 days. And The last election we had, I think it was on the 7th or so, and we are hoping, if it wasn't the 7th, then I think it was apparently somewhere between the 7th and the 18th of October. So the possibility that the electorate will be convened between, as the law says, that 90 days before the polling day, it could be on the 17th, it could be on the 12th, it could be on the 15th, but it should not be on the same day. So this is where we are looking at how the game is actually playing.
The days ahead are really pregnant. Let's observe and see what happens in the days ahead. Thank you so much, NJI Lucas, for accepting to be our guest and talking points tonight. And as usual, I hope to have you some other time. Viewers, that was what we put together for you on the news this evening. Our programs continue this Friday. Equinoxe comes up in about 30 minutes or so, with Saja Lang, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Julien Beth Bisai. Enjoy the rest of your company in the company of programs on Equinoxe Television, and see you again. That should be on Monday. Bye-bye for now. Have a blessed weekend.